We go now with Belén, our special envoy in Caracas, for more details on everything that has been happening in this International World Youth and Student Anti-Fascist Congress.
Hello studios, exactly. We continue here in Caracas as the Youth Anti-Fascist Congress is underway in the Venezuelan capital, and the delegations are here. This is the second day of the Congress. Some of the panels are already underway as the delegations from different parts of the world are discussing, debating, bringing their own experiences on very relevant topics to really, first of all, understand the world we are living in, and second, just share the different experiences from different territories and also think of a common agenda and common strategies to really tackle those challenges and think of the way in which a better future, a better world order can be built. And that is what is happening here in Caracas. The topics go from discussing the environmental crisis to discussing the possibilities of young and popular organization around the world. And also the women and gender topic is also one of the main keys of debate. This has been for the past decades, of course, one of the most relevant topics, but in this case it's being analyzed in an international and also an anti-capitalist perspective for the women's movement around the world. And we are now joined by Luiza Tonon. She is from Portugal and she is from the Democratic Women Movement from Portugal. So first of all, welcome Luiza. Thank you for joining us here in teleSUR English. It's a pleasure for us to have you here, and I would first like to ask you about your first impressions. It's your first time in Venezuela, right?
Yes, it's my first time in Venezuela. I arrived here this week, and I've been finding it wonderful people, very sympathetic, very warm and receptive, and also it's very important to say that it has nothing to do what it has been told in my country, in Portugal. People tell about many lies about Venezuela, that it's too violent here and people don't have anything, and I've not seen that at all. I've just been loving it. It's a beautiful city. It's a great opportunity to meet more people and to see the resistance, the political culture here from Venezuela, that it's a big example to us in Portugal.
Right. Of course, the question about the media campaign against the sovereign countries around the world is one of the key topics here as well, because of course that is the impression from many of the delegates that are visiting not only Venezuela but sometimes Latin America for the first time, moving out of their own countries for the first time. So it's really good to know like the in-person experience from this country on the one hand, and also I imagine that you've been talking to delegates from all over the world and asking them about their experiences, what is going on in their countries. So it's a very big learning process. And I would like to ask you, yesterday was the first day of discussions, of panels. You come from a women's movement in Portugal. So what was that like in the exchange of ideas? What were some of the main topics in that area? How was the exchange of visions with delegates from all over the world? What's your perspective?
I would say it has been also fantastic. Since I arrived here, I've been talking every time to people from all the continents. And as I'm from the women's movement, I always ask about the women and the situation in their countries. But here, yesterday, it was very important that we had a whole discussion dedicated only to gender and women's. And I was invited there to be talking about the experience of my country and my movement. That was great. But it was even better to listen many people from Latin America, many women from Venezuela as well, and other countries in the world to tell the experiences also as struggle in the rights for women in all these countries. So it was very rich. We stayed almost 3 hours there just exchanging experience, and it has been great. I feel like even more strong now to my struggles in my country, and surely they feel the same to their countries, and it's very important to be solidarity, to strengthen this solidarity towards all the women of the world. We learned very much and it's great.
Well, that is really amazing to hear and to see. We see people exchanging experiences. We see people exchanging their flags, their fighting symbols, and that is really like it can appear a superficial thing, but I think that it speaks to really the exchange and the solidarity that is being built with someone that you are talking with, sharing an experience, so it's really good. And I would like to end by asking you, what is the situation in Portugal in terms of the women's movement? What are your key struggles, and have you been able to share and learn from other experiences during this Congress?
Sure. We see that Portugal has lived 48 years under a fascist dictatorship, as many Latin American countries. And that dictatorship was very misogynist and hated women. Women had way lower rights than men. And just because many women were in the anti-fascist struggle, and together with all the people, all the working class, they made a popular social revolution in 1974. And after that, things changed a lot. What proves, we think, that the social organization of the working class can't really change the world. But now we live in a capitalist country, that's Portugal. It's one of the poorest countries in Europe, so we have many struggles. Due to the low wages, women get less paid and usually are in lower paid professions. And we fight a lot so in some rights that women can be mothers if they want. And this should not be a heavy thing. They should have free public education since for babies, and this doesn't happen right now in our country. It's a struggle to us to have a free and public service to children care in our country. We also are always in the streets talking to all women to be strong in their trade unions, to fight for bigger wages, to have also better timings of work, because some women do work a lot, have 2 or 3 jobs, and this is too much. We see that women suffer a lot. And we also are in the struggle against violence against women, because Portugal is overall a very safe country, but the most reported crime is domestic violence. So we have to tell women to be aware of that and don't fear to denounce that. So it's one of our struggles. And mainly now we say a lot about anti-imperialism, to support Palestine, to support Cuba, to support Venezuela, and women to stand with peace against all the wars, against all the violence. This is also very important to us, and that's why it's very important to us to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luiza. It's our pleasure to have you, truly. That was Luiza, our comrade from Portugal, bringing some of the information and reality in the women's movement in that country. And really that is just a little bit of what this Congress is all about. Not only the topics that are being discussed, but also learning from the reality in each country. Because one of the keys in the international attempt to unite the different movements from different countries has to do with learning about what's going on, and also finding that there's a lot of common ground, that there's a lot of shared history, even with peoples from far away in the world, and that is what is happening. The exchanges are being made, and a lot of comrades are realizing that the same struggles are being fought in different territories, and that means that there's a lot of people from whom to learn from, and also a lot of road to walk together. So that is what is happening here. We will continue to bring you all the information from the Anti-Fascist Youth Congress in Caracas. Now we go back to you.